Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining us for another exciting edition of the Olympics on Talking Fight, because I'm pretty sure there's some great news out there that Christian's just busting to tell us. What do you got for us today, Christian?
Well, happy Monday, Graham. And sorry I missed you guys last Friday. We had some technical issues on my end personally. So, Graham, I know had to cover that one, and I appreciate that. There's not a whole ton going, just a couple of stories to go over today. Uh, both of them in the realm of follow-ups. The IOC is tightening their belt yet again as to who's actually going to be at these Tokyo Games. So the IOC and the International Paralympic Committee uh, were confronted with the conclusion of their Japanese partners recently not to allow overseas spectators at the Olympic and Paralympic Games coming up in Tokyo. Now, this is something we talked about already on the show. Now, this is what they're saying is necessary to organize safe and secure games for everybody. In this meeting, the Japanese government had made it very clear that it also requires significant reduction in numbers from what they're calling accredited participants who do not have essential or operational responsibilities. Now, for obvious reasons, the IOC and the IPC had to fully comply and accept with these new stipulations from the Japanese government. As a follow-up, these conclusions were discussed with all national Olympic committees as well as all international federations. Now, in the consultation calls this week, in these conversations, the IOC learned from that all of the various bodies involved are viewing this as the responsible approach, which is going to be necessary for holding the Olympic Games. Many of them these international federations and national Olympic committees are already making every effort to significantly reduce their numbers of accredited people. And are also seeking, further guidance from the IOC leadership as to who can be included in their new reformed lists. So, in order to comply with these new conclusions, the request of the Japanese and the request of their Japanese partners, the IOC today, which would have been over the weekend, not today, decided to grant accreditation only to people who have what they're saying essential and operational roles. IOC members, as the ultimate decision-making body of the IOC, are playing such an essential, are only those members who are playing an essential and operational role will be allowed to attend the games. That's even within the IOC membership. So the IOC has canceled and reduced all IOC guest programs, and the invitation to Olympic athlete legends, for example, as well as a number of other programs. It also will not grant accreditation to any accompanying guests in any category. So the people that this new announcement, Graham, are going to affect, it's going to be people like I said, former Olympic legends. So let's say they want to invite Lennox Lewis as a former Olympic gold medal boxer. They do extend invitations to the games and free tickets to people like that in order to get, the obvious sound bites and photo ops and press opportunities, and it all helps drive up the numbers for them, right? So that's going to be axed off this year's list. So we're going to see a much more scaled down program when it comes to promotions, but it's also going to affect spouses and families of athletes who normally would, because most athletes would normally bring wife and children, or in case of some boxers, maybe their dad might want to come out to the games. Looking at you, Big T, but they've officially axed that off the program now. So we're seeing a much more scaled back version. So we're getting right down to bare bones where we're just going to be seeing athletes, trainers, coaches, and people who are directly running events. So security personnel, runners for the athletes, things like that. But a much more scaled back, bare bones version of what we're going to be seeing. So at this point, the only way that you or I are going to get a chance to see these games is if we suddenly become integral to them being held at all, which I don't see happening. So I think you and I, Graham, are going to have to hold out for Paris in 2024 before we actually make it out to a games. That's the latest out of the IOC. But I wanted to quickly, Graham, follow up on a story that we had been working on earlier in the month. Now, you're going to remember, and as will our viewers, obviously, the ill-fated Indian team at this year's boxing tournament. And while it all started off with Ashish Kumar, and we've had a bit of an update on him with you to share there. Now, for those who don't remember, the Indian team was slated for 9 finals in the boxing tournament, but due to a series of COVID-related, I won't call them gaffes, but incidents, only one of those fighters was actually able to box in their final, and the rest all had to go to walk-offs. So one of the big stories was Ashish Kumar, contracting COVID. So as I said, we've had a bit of an update, and I just wanted to share. So the 26-year-old middleweight fight in the 75-kilogram category, for anyone who's keeping score there, had tested positive for the coronavirus on the eve of the Boxing International final in Castellón, Spain. This was back on the 7th of March. So during the tournament earlier this month, the Olympic-bound Indian boxer Ashish Kumar, he's now on his way back to India after recovering entirely from that infection. So as I said, he had tested positive for the virus on the eve of his own final, forcing his withdrawal from the competition, along with two others at the time. That would be Sumit Sagwan in the 81-kilogram category and Mohammed Hussamuddin in the 57-kilogram category. Now, that was due to the fact that they were both his roommates at the time. So Sagwan and Hussamuddin were able to return to India with the rest of the team after they posted a negative COVID-19 result. Unfortunately, that negative result was not good enough at the time to allow them to compete in their events. But that is what it is, and we knew that going into that tournament. Ashish, however, was quarantined in his hotel room in Castellón. Now, he was quoted as saying, "I have tested negative and will be back today." He said that while he was boarding a plane on his way back to India after being released from quarantine. Now, it should be noted, Graham, that during the whole of his quarantine, Ashish was asymptomatic throughout the whole period. So that's good news for him. He went on to say, "I was tested on the semifinal day, and by that evening, it was out. By that evening, I was out of the final after it came back positive. I have no idea how it happened. To be honest, I was a bit scared when the report came out because nobody knew how it was going to impact me, but I haven't felt anything physically." He went on to say, "So here I am without any symptoms, simply locked in a room. What could I do other than sit and just wait for this thing to be over?" He added that the Spanish Federation took really good care of him during that time and that everything was in order and that they had given him a really spacious room so that he could still do his daily workouts during quarantine. And he also went on to say that the Federation was in regular touch with him during that time. So we've had a great update there. He's doing much better, and Ashish Kumar is one of the few Indians who has already qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, and he did so the old-fashioned way back at the Asia Oceania qualifier back in March of 2020. So he's on his way to his first Olympic Games. So that's what we've got in the world of boxing today. We've got a nice update knowing that one of our Indian boxers is back in the fold. He's headed back to India, and he'll be rejoining his team in training camp. And a much more scaled back, even than what we had already seen so far, Olympics to come.
Great. Thanks very much, Christian. Appreciate that. With that being said, remember, good viewership. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to our channel. And remember, if you're going to subscribe, as that fellow just is, please hit the notifications bell so that you get all the notifications from us on a regular basis, especially when we're about to go live with a new program. Having said that, I guess we'll see you tomorrow, Christian.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you.